Hi there, Daniel Park from Zebra Technologies. In this video, I'd like to continue with the introduction of the VisibilityIQ dashboard. This time, diving a little deeper into how to view reports, as well as how to set thresholds. Okay, let's return to the dashboard. Okay, let's talk a little bit about thresholds. As you can see, some of these tiles have blue banners at the top. Some of them have traffic light colored banners, for example, red, amber, and green. Red is basically saying that this report is signifying that we're at a severe level and some action needs to be taken. Amber indicates that there is some issues, but it's not too bad. And then green is obviously a good state of affairs. Now, these thresholds you can set up yourself, but let's deep dive a little bit by looking at the Lifeguard Analytics tab. Okay, firstly, we can drag it anywhere we want, as I mentioned. If I click on the settings icon, you could rename that tile to something else. And of course, it's highlighting the fact that it's a mobile computer-based report. We will be supporting printers later on in the year. Okay, so on the main page of the tile, it states that 692 devices should have updates applied, and of a total of 840 devices. This was updated yesterday, as mentioned down there. We are updating this report hourly for a lot of reports, but it is dependent on when the data comes in. So it's not always hourly, but if the data comes in hourly, we will report on it hourly. Okay, we'll click on the View Report button at the bottom of the tile. Okay, this will bring you into the deep dive on the Lifeguard. And you can see we've got 3 tabs. Let's just click on the first one. And it says 692 devices recommended to have updates. And you can see that's grouped them into model number. So there's 387 devices with this particular model and model number and OS version, etc., etc. BSP, Lifeguard. Now, if I click on View Devices, it will actually break out every device that falls under that category. Okay, let's just close the group. If I click on the down arrow, it will say, here's the recommended actions for these devices. So we could update the Lifeguard patch only, and that will address 88 vulnerabilities, and there's the size of the file. Or we could push a new BSP and a Lifeguard, and it will address some other vulnerabilities, and of course it's a bigger file. We could even go the extra step and upgrade a new OS dessert, maybe going from NuGuard to Oreo, for example, with a BSP and Lifeguard, and that will give you 302 vulnerabilities addressed. Okay, so you can see we're showing 10 options at the moment on the screen. You can change that to show more. And up the top right is an export report option. So we can export that into a spreadsheet to provide to IT to potentially action some item, some action on a group of devices, etc. I'll just quickly open the Excel spreadsheet to show you what form it can potentially take. Okay, open that up. And you can see, I'll just expand it out. It gives you pretty basic information from that report. The next thing you'll see is a date range. Now this is appropriate for certain reports and not for others. For Lifeguard, you really want to know the current state of affairs, not the state over a period of time. So for this report, really they just give you yesterday's date. So for this one, it's not really as relevant. Let's look up the other tabs. So we've got up to date. Which devices are up to date? So similarly to the ones recommended updates, it shows you the ones that we think are up to date. And this third tab shows you all the devices available. Again, we can slice and dice this data in various ways. You can see some options on the right here where it says grouping. I can group by model or I can group by OS version. This next tab shows you certain columns that you could potentially hide or show. And this little third tab where you can create a tag. So there are system tags, but there's also custom tags that you can create or edit and remove device tags. And once you've created tags, you can do groupings, etc. on them. One other thing, sometimes we have options for getting more information. So if I click learn more in this particular example, it will take me to the support portal where I can download the required lifeguard patch or BSP update. So it shows you here on the right here, whether it be a TC56, for example, that's a GMS version or a non-GMS version. You click on GMS and you are able to download the appropriate bit of software required. Okay, so this whole idea of recommending updates after certain versions, there's obviously a threshold that's been set to alert the viewer of when an update is required. You get the ability to set that. And I'll show you now where we set that. So if we go down to administration here, there's some report settings that we can change. So you can see there's some of the reports where we can change settings on. So the Lifeguard Analytics is what we're talking about currently. Let's open that up. And you can see when a tile turns amber or green or potentially red is something that we can control. For this particular report, it's looking at the percentage of devices. So if more than, say, let's set that to 30, if more than 30% of my fleet of devices are out of date in terms of security patch, I want the tile to go amber. If 60% or more are out of date, I want it to turn red. Now, what's considered out of date? Well, you can configure that also. This second option here, of course, you save the selection, make sure you made a change. This second threshold is user configurable. So you may say, okay, I don't want to update my patches unless they're 9 months out of date. So we've set 9 months as the threshold for when a device is out of date in terms of security patches. So that determines the date when it's out of date. That determines the time period when it's out of date, and this tile alert shows you the percentage of devices that are out of date by that period of time. I hope that makes sense to you. Of course, different tabs have different options for configuring as well. So just to give you an idea. And just while we're down here, let's look at email notifications. You can get an email automatically sent to you when a report is reaching a threshold. So if I turn on notifications, I can choose up to 8 reports that I want to get an email on. So we were talking about Lifeguard. Let's click on that, and you can hit save, and that means when we are reaching a threshold in terms of Lifeguard updates, I will get an email warning me about that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense in terms of thresholds. Well, that's it for this video. Please keep an eye out for part 3, where we'll look at a few example VIQF reports and also show just how easy it is to adjust how the reports are displayed. Now remember, if you'd like any more information on anything you've seen here, please reach out to your local Zebra team or visit zebra.com. Thanks for watching.